Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America show. And we have a last minute change of schedule here on the back end. But for everyone out there, welcome into the Computer America show. And I'm your host, Ben Crossan, by the way. And today we have a full hour all to ourselves. That's right. So we had a guest scheduled for today, but unfortunately last minute schedule change, so they will be rescheduled. Actually, I believe next Thursday they are scheduled to be on. But yeah, and instead today we are doing a full hour of computer and technology news. And that's a segment where we kind of go through current events, usually topics from today or the last couple days, and try to make sense of them and try to, inform and entertain as we always do. So, but before we get into all of that, a few things to mention, including computeramerica.com, that will have anything and everything that you want to do with the show, including maybe listen to the audio, video podcast if you miss any part of it, stop halfway through, doesn't matter. We have you covered over at our website. And also there, you'll find things like the show notes. So any links, articles, videos, anything that we cover will be available in today's show notes. The next thing is the social media contest, which we are still running, and we have a new winner tomorrow. Yeah, excited for that. New winner that we announce live on the air and then send them out a prize, and it should be there within a few weeks. And yeah, I think you'll be very, very happy to win a prize from Logitech. Full rules and how to enter, things like that, again, over at computeramerica.com. And the last thing is, of course, the live video stream, where you can not only listen to Computer America, which is cool, fine. We try to make the listening experience everything that the video is. But let's face it, there's still some things that you just can't do on audio only. So that's where the video part comes in, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Check it out right there at the live streaming page of our website. So, all that being said, let us jump into computer and technology news, because we have a ton of stories. Really want to get to a few of them because, I'd say about the last 2 weeks, we've had really, really great guests, which is great, but we've also gotten to the point where we are a bit backlogged, or at least we haven't had time to, really get to more than 2 or 3 news stories at a time. So today, it's all about news, and here we go. All right, so computer and technology news brought to you by Fire Dragon Security. And why don't we start off with some of the older news that we didn't get to. So this was from just a mere 2 days ago, I believe. But here we have one about Windows 10 and something that I think we should have all saw coming. And here we go, saying that this is from Computer World. And Windows 10 is making too many PCs obsolete. Yeah, again, could have saw that one coming. So, Windows 10 will be supported until October 14th, 2025. Unless your computer has a Clover Trail CPU, then, well, no luck for you. So, Microsoft released its latest Windows 10 update earlier this year, where, of course, we have the Creators Update. And soon we'll be having, of course, the Fall Update, the Fall Creators Update. But about 10 million Windows 10 customers have to face up to the unpleasant surprise. Their machines can't update to Creators Update. And that's how many poor sad sacks bought a Windows X point blank laptop. in 2013 or 2014 with an Intel Clover Trail processor. Any of them who have tried to update their PC with the March 2017 Creator Update had no success and were presented with the message, Windows 10 is no longer supporting your PC. And of course, as the author points out, must be fun to know that your operating system of choice is no longer supporting you. But that's right. So 10 million potential customers. Obviously, not all 10 million are going to update their device, but 10 million of them will not be able to. And of course, not the end of the road for your 3-year-old machine, though. And the author says you could always keep running the last version of Windows 10 on your PC. It wasn't as if you went directly to a permanent blue screen of death. And anyway, Microsoft eventually backed off some, announcing that while you can't update those machines, you can still get security patches, which is something that Windows tends to enjoy doing. By not actively developing or actively working on these operating systems, they'll at least give you security patches for a while, and then they'll stop those, and then it's completely, out of date. And so the author says he remembers when the Microsoft was forcing upgrades to Windows 10 down our throats, and there you were with a machine on the low end of the Windows 10 hardware compatibility. And you might have some doubts about making the move to Windows 10, but Microsoft was just so persistent. And you must be pleased as you have surrendered now and your device is no longer supported. And these devices aren't even that old, 2013, 2014, that's a 3-4-year-old computer or laptop or tablet or what have you. And so they said that, of course, Windows 10 needs more hardware muscle than older systems can supply. And the author wants to know, what the heck did Windows 10 add to PCs that was worth having? And I think we can answer that, but let's see where he's going with this. And he can't think of a thing. Windows 7 is still the best version of Windows. And of course, Microsoft wants you off of Windows 7. Windows 7 was incredibly stable, incredibly awesome. I mean, it was about as rock solid as XP was, and even more so because it was, just much, much more modern. It was one of their most stable releases, and people still use it to this day. But now, the author goes on to say that people tell me, quote, no, we need new powerful hardware to deal with today's operating systems and applications. Saying that, excuse me if I missed something, but aren't we moving our applications to the cloud? And sure, if you're editing videos with your PC, then you need the power. But he can do 99% of his work on his ARM-powered Chromebook with 2 gigs of RAM. And so can you, he would bet. Okay, so he's making some assertions here, and again, this seems to be an editorial, which I'm completely fine with. This, of course, written by Mr. Steve Von Nichols over at Computer World. But yeah, his first point is, why was Microsoft pushing Windows 10 so hard to so many people when they were going to make so many devices non-compatible with the latest version of Windows? And it has to do with the fact that so much of Microsoft's time and energy and resources, when it comes to when it comes to the development of Windows, a lot of it is dedicated, like I'm sure they have a team for one and team for the other, but a lot of their resources are committed to keeping old versions of Windows up to date, secure, and patched, ready to go for either their business applications or for people who just simply don't want to, upgrade. This is something that we saw in, let's say, browsers, where people are still using Internet Explorer 6, and a lot of what goes into large websites, their development cost is not that, hey, it's pretty easy to develop for the latest and greatest browser, but a lot of money had to go into developing browsers for, people still stuck in the past. It's a real problem. And just like keeping operating and, detailing 3 different operating systems at a time, be it Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10. I mean, obviously, Microsoft would have you or would prefer to have you on Windows 10 and only Windows 10, so that they only had to worry about the one operating system. Of course, that's going to bring some pain. It's going to bring some pain to people who, like he said, were on the lower end of the hardware spectrum, because they're going to go out of date a lot faster as soon as you upgrade to those new applications. Now, his next point was something along the lines of, why do we need more powerful hardware if he can do all of his work on old hardware, or at least not very powerful hardware, where the processing power that one would originally require a person to have a pretty good computer with, because everything was kind of done client side. He's saying that with the increase in cloud computing, not as much is really reliant on your system anymore. A lot of it is reliant on the services that are connected through the internet, in the cloud, on other servers that you do not own, that do have the latest hardware. Those are the ones that will have the hardware necessary to run these applications. You simply need to have some kind of terminal or minimal computing power to access them. And that's certainly something to be said for things like Chromebooks. I mean, that's almost exactly how they work, where if you don't have but you end up with things like, if you don't have internet access, it's a useless piece of, plastic. There's not really much you could do with a Chromebook without internet access. Computers are a little bit more complicated than that. And until everyone is happy with a Chromebook, the operating system is going to have to get more robust. And the applications that are dealt on the client side are probably going to take advantage of what they see as a new standard. I don't think the industry in general, I don't think software manufacturers who are, producing software for computers, I don't think they develop software with the idea in mind that people run them on their computers and they're only going to have access to 2 gigs of RAM. No, it's probably closer to 4 or 8 gigs of RAM that they kind of expect even the lowest end, even the lowest end user to have access to. So his assertion that, you really don't need powerful hardware, so Windows 10 to up the minimum system requirements is baloney. I kind of see his point, and again, I think that the people that can run their entire digital lives on Chromebooks are a small subsection and kind of the exception to the rule. Like, you're going to have to go out of your way to find applications that would replace what most people would use. Be it some kind of Quicken, be it some kind of word processor, be it some kind of music, music service like iTunes. Obviously, there are cloud solutions to all of those, but I don't think everyone, uses the cloud for everything. At least not yet. So, yeah, we're finishing up this one here. So he's saying that, so tell me, Microsoft, why can't you fully support Windows 10 on these older PCs? And they're not that old, as they can already run the earlier versions. That's right. So another qualm that I really can't poke a hole in is that Windows 10 with the Creators Update is breaking the system, not just Windows 10 period, but Windows 10 Creators Update. I don't know I think this is something that we're going to have to expect. Windows 10 hasn't been out for that long, so it's, kind of hitting, a little sooner than we expected. But think about, by any other name, think about a Windows release. Think about Windows XP. Think about Windows ME. Yeah, I said it, Windows ME. Think about Windows ME, Windows XP, Windows 2000, Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 8, Windows 10. All of them had about, and I'm sorry if I'm fuzzy on my dates, but all of them had about 2 to 4 years lag time between the two. I'm pretty sure that Windows 10 was released in the fall of 2015. So, with that being said, we're about 2 years into this operating system. Now, Microsoft said that Windows 10 was going to be the last operating system ever, or at least from Microsoft. They would just continually update Windows 10 as it went, and there you have it. But if we were on a normal cycle of updating hardware with, or at least updating operating systems, we would be getting pretty darn close to, rumors and whispers of a new operating system. And if they say that Windows 10 is going to be supported through 2025 for at least the next 8 years, I don't care if it's still called Windows 10 in 8 years. The hardware that we are running today, and especially if you were on the low end of what could download and install Windows 10, in 10 years, you won't be able to run modern applications on a 10-year-old computer. So even though it's Windows 10, it will be Windows 10 in 2015, it will be Windows 10 in 2025. It's not going to mean that you are guaranteed to run Windows 10 from beginning to end. It's going to, it's going to hit you eventually. It's just instead of going from Windows 10 to 11, you'll just go from, Windows 10 update 2 to Windows 10 update 7, and you won't be able to run it anymore. That's just kind of it. Again, all these number schemes and what have you are more of a marketing thing than they are some kind of promise that your technology will never be outdated again. Now, he does make a good point here, saying that the first generation of Clover Trail was odd, where the graphics processing units in Clover Trail PCs were underpowered from day one. But Microsoft's urged Clover Trail owners to move to Windows 10 just as tirelessly as they did with the best of the best in 2015. And he says that I'm ticked off not just that Microsoft is willing to dump customers, it's that it's treating poorly people who it's treating people poorly who upgraded in good faith. And in his mind, Microsoft made an implicit promise that it would be there for these customers. It has broken that promise, and those customers deserve better. And I'm not arguing that point. I mean, the fact that you download a new operating system, and within 2 years, you are essentially blue screened, you can't use that device anymore, that's a little bogus. Of course, here at Computer America, we're all for Linux and these kinds of operating systems. I mean, there are other operating systems besides Microsoft and Windows that you could put on a computer. But the fact that, 10 million devices, I doubt that they're all going to do that. I doubt that many people are going to be that savvy enough to, fix this problem on their own. Well, here we have it. And I think Microsoft did dump them a little early. But it won't be the last time. I mean, if this gentleman is mad now, wait in 4 years. When, half of all, upgraded hardware won't be able to run the latest version of Windows. Wait in 10 years, and nothing that we own nowadays will be able to run the current version of Windows. It's just kind of the way the world works now. So there you have it. And so, Windows 10, even if they keep calling it Windows 10, know that behind the scenes, Windows 10 is still developing at the speed of a modern operating system. It just won't have full-fledged releases. So everything that kind of came packaged with the idea of, well, we have a new version of the operating system, well, that's going to be more gradual, and you're going to see PCs meeting that obsolescence gradually instead of in waves that obviously correlate to when these new operating systems are released. So, yep, sorry about going on a tangent on that one. Obviously, this was an opinion piece by Stephen J. Von Nichols over at PC World, and I'm sorry, Computer World, not PC World, Computer World. And yeah, I get the outrage. I get it, especially if you are one of the 10 million people. But if you're outraged now, wait till you see what happens next, because it's going to be just as bad. All right, now let's switch gears here. And I don't know about you folks, but I've seen a lot of these things. They're called GIF recipes, GIF recipes, whatever you want to call it. And they're these recipes that have an overhead camera pointing straight down. The camera is obviously fixed, and you have these recipes that they kind of explain to you, in pre-chopped bowls, and they kind of mix it all together, and they kind of explain to you, first add this, saute this, and essentially putting the idea of a recipe in a little animated video, about a minute long, minute and a half, nothing too arduous. And yeah, it ends up being a rather cool experience because you get to see the dish from raw ingredients to cooked all in this short time frame. And it's been taking, or at least these things have been going viral. A good recipe will net you thousands and thousands and thousands of reshares and millions of people seeing your content. So someone has decided to find a way to, well, capitalize on this. And here we have it here. This from Swampnath Krishna from Engadget, saying that viral cooking videos control BuzzFeed's $150 Bluetooth hot plate. First off, that is an expensive hot plate, but it does have Bluetooth, so saying that it syncs with a new iOS app to deliver step-by-step cooking instructions. And that if you've been reading BuzzFeed and thought this is a company that should get into the hardware business, well, you're in luck. Obviously a little sarcasm there because I have never once thought that. But here we go. Saying that the media company has paired with GE to bring you a Bluetooth-enabled induction cooktop that pairs with all their new Tasty app for the iPhone. Their all-new Tasty app. Tasty being the name of the app for the iPhone. It's available for pre-order and will set you back about $150. Smackers. Dineros. All right. So called the Tasty One Top, the fancy hot plate can be used for many types of meal preparation. From slow cooking to sous vide, it will track the temperature of both your pot and your food to make sure you get great results out of cooking. And if you're ever worried about burning food or undercooking your chicken, this will set your mind at ease. And the team's hope is to make cooking more widely accessible through the app, which contains about 1,700 recipe videos, which we were just talking about. So users can select a video through the iPhone app, and the videos in the app will instruct users in a step-by-step instruction on how to, make the dish, and then the app will tell the hot plate what temperature to be at and how long for it to do that. Essentially taking the idea of heat control away from the person. And so this might seem a little strange for a media company to be branching out into hardware, but they're saying that BuzzFeed Tasty has become the largest social food network in the world. I didn't know that. It's interesting. And saying that it makes sense that BuzzFeed would want to capitalize on its popularity, while people who are comfortable in the kitchen will likely raise an eyebrow at the device. It's not meant or aimed at them. So again, if you are a person who is a cook, or you know how to cook, or you know how to boil water, or you know how to fry an egg, this probably isn't for you. It's for everyone else that just likes those videos, but doesn't know how to cook. Saying that instead, this could help people who aren't at ease with cooking figure out how to prepare the meals themselves. And considering how much healthier it is to cook for yourself than eat out constantly, the author says we'll call that a win. There you have it. Still though, my goodness, a $150 hot plate. Man, BuzzFeed, you do not cease to amaze. If you can get people to buy a $150 hot plate, BuzzFeed, you deserve everything that you earn. Good job. All right, so that was a little silly. Why don't we get into something a little bit more serious? How about Twitter? We haven't done anything about Twitter in a while. Twitter, obviously, it's a platform that either you're a user and you say, wow, this is awesome. The community and the socializing and blah, blah, blah is just what we want. Or you're not a user and you sit back and go, 140 characters? That's stupid. Twitter's stupid. Twitter as an idea is stupid. And it seems like that kind of thinking is reaching an equilibrium. It's balancing itself out. So here we have it, Twitter. And Twitter, by the way, added 0 users last quarter. Strange. So what does this mean? That the company's user growth is still a problem after all. And again, the amount of news and headlines that Twitter makes, be it from the president, be it from large news organizations, be it from just announcements being made on Twitter, it doesn't seem to be a very good place for socializing, more for attracting an audience. And that audience might have already been attracted. So let's see. Saying that Twitter did not add any new users in quarter 2, a disappointing follow-up to what has been a promising start to 2017. And that Twitter reported earnings Thursday, claiming 328 million total users. Not bad. The same number it reported after quarter 1, where analysts had been hoping the company would add around 4 million new users this last quarter. Wonder if they tried advertising on Twitter. But Twitter did beat the Wall Street revenue expectations, bringing in profits of 12 cents a share on revenue of about $574 million. Not bad. And of course, Wall Street was looking for about $40 million less than that. So not as many users as they were hoping, but at least the revenue was, was up there. And here we have it. Twitter's daily active users also grew by 12% over the same time last year, a metric Twitter will likely tout as the company says it represents engagement. But Twitter doesn't share how many daily active users it actually has, which makes its year-over-year growth tough to appreciate. Obviously, a company like this, when your numbers and you're trying to compete with other titans, think like Facebook or Reddit or anything that's kind of social media, it can be tough, to kind of say that, hey, we had a mixed earning, and it can be tough for everyone not to just immediately go, well, you're done for, you're doomed, and you're over with. And Twitter has a lot of that to deal with. So the user growth piece was the key, saying that Twitter's declining revenue has been blamed on the fact that the company had paltry user growth for almost 2 whole years, and that the revenue was simply catching up. But after adding a surprising 9 million new users last quarter, some hoped that it was a sign that Twitter's business growth would eventually follow. And though adding 0 new users, and again, this is 0 net users, this is not saying that no one left Twitter or that no one joined Twitter. Instead, it's saying that, instead of it being like negative 2 million or positive 1 million users, just in broad numbers, they didn't go up or down. So Twitter's stock is down about 6% in pre-market trading, and we are reading through the company's earnings reports to see what else we can find. This coming from, again, Recode. But Twitter, I mean, it's one of those things that I can't imagine. I take that back. I could easily imagine a world without Twitter, but at the same time, Twitter, it really feels like has made itself a part of what the social media experience is. Facebook is your place that you kind of call home. Facebook is your idea of, this is my digital life. And then your Twitter is like your playground. Twitter is like your your bulletin board. It's a place where you go, you shoot quick ideas, you talk about other people's quick ideas, and you kind of go on about your day. Like it's not mandatory like Facebook feels like it is, but at the same time, you can definitely, kind of tell it. Of course, no social media is necessary. Not having an online digital footprint is completely possible. And, take all this with a grain of salt. But there you have it, Twitter on the back burner. So Everyone, we'll be back with more computer and technology news right after this.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you for joining us. And if you are just joining us, well, welcome into the program. We are doing a full hour of computer and technology news. And this is a segment where we kind of go through and, find the latest news stories of the day, things that are interesting, things that are, that should probably be, explained and talked through, because technology does move fast. Technology moves so fast that if you aren't staying on top of it, well, you're going to turn around one day and go, wait, what happened? And it's just going to be a series of, events that you weren't paying attention to, and you're going to be, three or four revelations behind. So that's right here at Computer America. We try to stay up to date and keep you guys up to date. And this next one, this was, this is one that we kind of covered a little while ago, and it was the idea that the artificial intelligence, this is an idea that had been thrown around a lot lately. Artificial intelligence, about 2 years ago, was not part of the was not part of anything other than just science fiction and fantasy, and instead is now a part of our everyday lives. But artificial intelligence goes through some twists and turns, just like all development. It's not a straight path. And so we have the story here, this one from Digital Journal, saying that an artificial intelligence system being developed at Facebook has created its own language. That's right. And the researchers were forced to shut it down. Now, it's not as nefarious as I think the headline would have you believe. It's not like AI has become sentient and it's going to destroy us and it's getting too smart where, it's trying to avoid human detection by making its own language and blah, blah, blah. No, it's more to the fact that if artificial intelligence talks to itself in a new language, well, that's not really helpful for us, for humans, because we can't understand it and we can't talk to it, we can't communicate with it, and we don't know what it's, what it's doing. So what use is it to monitor? That's right. So an artificial intelligence system being developed at Facebook has created its own language where it developed a system of code words to make communication more efficient. And the researchers shut down the system as it prompted concerns that we could lose control of AI. Again, I don't think that was the true concern. I think it was more, how useful is an AI if we can't understand its output? I think it was more of that one. So the observations made at Facebook are the latest in a long line of similar cases, saying that in each instance, an artificial intelligence being monitored by humans has diverged from its training in English to develop its own language, and that the resulting phrases appear to be nonsensical gibberish, of course to us humans, but contain semantic meanings when interpreted by AI agents. And they say that the Fast Code Design reports Facebook researchers recently noticed its new AI had given up on English. Haven't we all? But the new advanced system is capable of negotiating with other artificial intelligence agents so it can come to a conclusion on how to proceed, where the agents began to communicate using phrases that seem unintelligible at first, but actually represent the task at hand. Now, yeah, and so to give an example, they're saying in one exchange illustrated by the company, the two negotiating bots named Bob and Alice, of course, Bob and Alice, used their own language to complete their exchange, where Bob started by saying, and again, this is going to be gibberish because it was developed by the artificial intelligence, saying, quote, I can, I, everything else. At which, to which Alice responded, balls have 0 to me, to me, to me. And the rest of the conversation was formed from variations of these sentences. So, while it appears nonsensical, the repetition of the phrase I and to me reflect how the AI operates, where the researchers believe it shows that the two bots are working on how many of each item they should take. And of course they say that indicate how it was using language to offer more items to Alice. And when interpreting this phrase, the phrases appear more logical than comparable to English phrases like, I'll have 3 and you have everything else. So, right, something that was, logical to us, artificial intelligence found a seemingly quick way around it. Not a better way, but maybe a more efficient way. So, they, the article continues here saying that the English lacks a reward. Artificial intelligence is rewarded for productivity. It's rewarded for efficiency. It's rewarded for getting its job done. That's what artificial intelligence thrives on. Well, if it can do away with English and instead, deviate by indeed making its own language, then why wouldn't it? Because as the researchers kind of say here, the agents will, quote, drift from understandable language and invent code words for themselves. Like if I say the 5 times, you interpret that I mean that I want 5 copies of this item. This isn't so different from the way that communities of humans create shorthand. And right, so what he's saying there is that like what we see as unintelligible, the AI see it as the most rewarding option for how to learn to communicate with one another. There is no reward, as they say, for sentence structure, grammar, making it all look nice and pretty for us humans. Instead, it's just what is most efficient. And there you have it. So they say that, they have a couple separate cases with Google and Translate and other neural networks. But if AI invented languages become widespread, they could pose a problem when developing and adopting neural networks, saying that there is not yet enough evidence to determine whether they present a threat that could enable machines to overrule their operators. Again, I think that is so irresponsible to ask that kind of question in that way, where these artificial intelligence, if something develops its own language, they're not going to develop morals, ethics, goals, dreams, ambitions. They're not going to develop these ideas of, humans are obsolete. We are the future. Instead, it's more, two chatbots chatting together and they kind of just, shorthand everything. Like shorthand everything to such an extreme that they are simply communicating with a series of numbers and letters. That's probably going to happen before, any kind of machines to overrule the operators. Overrule. What a weird word. So the article wraps up by saying that they do make artificial intelligence More difficult, though, as humans cannot understand the overwhelmingly logical nature of the languages. And while they appear nonsensical, the results observed by the Google Translate team indicate that they actually represent the most efficient solution to major problems. And again, that is the fear of artificial intelligence. This is what Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg were, kind of bantering back and forth about. Was artificial intelligence does not necessarily mean Terminator style end of the human race. Instead, it's these things are really good at being really efficient, and one, we could lose the ability to comprehend them, and then it's a simple matter of taking it offline and starting over from scratch and wasting a bunch of time, more like wasted and dead end research. And then the other one is, if you have a perfect artificial intelligence, then you have a tool that, first of all, no one else has access to, and that your tool is super, super, super effective in the world that we live in with so much technology. Those are the risks, not so much it's going to bring about the end of days. Just they're incredibly useful. And when something is super useful, you don't want them either being useless, and you don't want all that usefulness to be concentrated with one company or person. There you have it. So, yeah, robots not coming for our guns anytime soon. All right. So, let's see. Mm-hmm. All right. How about we do this one? So, those of you out there, I'm sure you have heard of the service, Google Play Music and YouTube Red. Well, they are looking like a merger is coming. And they're saying it's an effort to make things less confusing for subscribers, and that YouTube Red and Google Play Music may merge into one service. Obviously. So this coming from Ars Technica and Valentina Palladino, saying that Google is notorious for having many services that do similar things, like its array of chat apps, and Google's music service has been fragmented for years, but the company may change that. And this according to a report from The Verge. YouTube's head of music stated at the New Music Seminar conference in New York last night that YouTube Red and Google Play Music should merge to make a singular, cohesive service. Which is important because I'm pretty sure subscribing to one got you access to the other. But they're saying that although the report doesn't mention YouTube Music, which is yet again another separate service, it's safe to say that all three streaming services would be combined into a single platform. Where Google merged the YouTube Music and Google Play Music products teams together earlier this year, and that move came shortly after the business development teams for both services merged in 2016. So obviously a lot of bringing different services and their teams together. So Google didn't confirm or deny the merger, but the company did say that users would be given notice well before any big changes occur. And so for those of you who don't know, YouTube Red, Google Play Music, and YouTube Music are similar and confusingly connected, where YouTube Red costs $10 a month and provides you an ad-free YouTube experience, background listening for videos, and access to Red original programs. And also with Red, you get full access to the Google Play Music, as well as the ability to use the YouTube Music app for offline and background listening. So if you subscribe to YouTube Red for $10 a month, you had access to all the other premium features of all the others. Of course, you could just simply subscribe to Google Play Music for a single month, and it's about the equivalent of Spotify, but obviously through Google, and the ability to create playlists and upload local music files and offline listening. So a few more features, but again, most of the features you got through YouTube Red. So one $10 a month service was almost completely given away for free if you subscribe to a second $10 a month service. I can see how that could be confusing. So, and they have some others here saying that, YouTube Music, blah, 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 don't care. But the article wraps up by saying that it's unclear what the merger would look like, and combining YouTube Red and Google Music would basically be an exercise in rebranding, since users of one of the services have access to all the other features of the others already. And adding in YouTube Music may require more clarification for users on exactly which feature they get for the allotted subscription price, but either way, one robust service is much better as compared to Spotify, Pandora, and Apple Music, as they provide very similar experiences. But YouTube Red, if you haven't heard about it, there you have it. It's their $10 a month YouTube service. It's kind of like YouTube Premium, is kind of a good way to think about it. And yeah, they're pushing it much, much harder. There you have it. So there you have it. And yeah, I don't see a lot of problems combining similar services and saying, hey, you're already getting a lot of overlap, so might as well make it clear and make it combined. But again, an official announcement will come, whenever they can. So let's talk about this next one. And we've talked a couple years ago, like we haven't really had to have this conversation for a little while now, and it's the idea of cell phone networks, where you had 3G, that was all the rage. It lets you pull up basic websites and things like that. It didn't let you do too much. You still get it in some areas where 4G is just not available. And then came along 4G, which let you stream music and have a pretty good internet connection. And then along came 4G LTE, which that one let you stream video content. It let you really, kind of get a home browsing experience through your cell phone on a cellular network. Well, in probably the next year or two, I think 2019 is the year that everyone is gunning for, but 2019 is the year that 5G wireless broadband, and really it is that kind of jump where it's 3G dial-up, 4G and 4G LTE being versions of DSL and cable, and now 5G is broadband and fiber optic. It's super, super speedy. But again, of course, all wireless. So this coming to us from DSL Reports and Mr. Carl Bode saying that you can add Apple to the long and growing list of companies conducting millimeter wave broadband trials as 5G broadband looms on the horizon. And of course, they've, the application uses the 28 to 39 gigahertz bands, and while the FCC approved for commercial use for 5G last year. And that Apple Inc. seeks to assess cellular link performance in direct path and multipath environment between base station transmitters and receivers using this spectrum. And the assessment will provide engineering data relevant to the operation of devices in wireless carriers' future 5G networks. So Apple is looking at how to best optimize their devices, or at least this is how I read it, best optimize their devices, and that may be, design, that may be antennas, whatever. That may be antennas positioned in a certain way to best capture that 5G signal. And there you have it. And so while companies are testing the hardware and software that will make up the standard eventually, the 5G standard hasn't yet been completed. And any serious deployment of 5G technology isn't expected to occur until at least 2020. So I said 2019, actually 2020. And what exactly an Apple millimeter wave offering would look like in commercial practice isn't spelled out in the application. So there you have it. 5G is going to be incredible when it comes to internet speed. Actually, we should Google that real quick. So 5G speed. So for those who don't know, 4G was giving you internet speeds of like 10 megabits per second, something like that, or even 100. I'm sorry, 4G is 100 megabits per second maximum. You know, it's awesome, it's great, but 5G, the one that's coming out in 2020, and you can imagine just how much data caps are going to have to change in the future when this new 5G technology is rolled out. Because obviously the networks are going to have to be more robust to handle this. But, you know, if let's say the average person is paying for like a 5, gigabyte kind of a 5 gigabytes plan, well, under 5G, you'll be able to blow through that in like, seconds, because the maximum speed will be 10 gigabits per second. 10 gigs a second. Most internet home fiber optic connections don't even have that much speed, and you'll have that available wirelessly. And if the latency was good enough, if the traffic was good enough and the signal was strong enough, this would be faster and more steady and allow you to do more things than a wired connection to your home would be. So 5G is going to offer a lot of advancements. We're going to see a lot of different applications that just in the past were not possible to have, and they're now going to be possible with the 5G network. Just need to wait for it to happen, and it's only a couple of years away. I know I say only, but hey, the next 5 years, it's an exciting time to be in it for technology. So, all right, so 5G, awesome stuff. Cannot wait. Oh, let's do something fun. All these are not fun. All right, how about this one? Yeah, actually, how long is this one? It's a little long. All right, so we'll do this one. Ori Smart Ring. And, I am a fan of goofy gadgets. They can be fun. They are, sometimes they don't work, but most of the time, they are at least a conversation starter. This one may be a conversation ender, depending on who you are talking with and who sees you using this thing. But the Ori Smart Ring turns your fingertip into a Bluetooth earpiece. Saying that it's made for folks who don't want the dorky look, except when you're on the call. And you can kind of, if you're watching the video portion, you can see a picture here of what that kind of looks like. But for those of you listening audio only, think of your index finger, and then wrapped around the base of your index finger is kind of like a mini Apple Watch. It's a little, it's a little square on a band, and it has something pressing against the top of your finger. That will obviously send the sound through your finger and into your fingertip, which is then pressed against not the inside of your ear, but kind of right in front of your ear. And you press it right there, and then supposedly the sound reverberates through your skin, through your finger, through your ear, and you can hear it just like that. And of course, because the device is, kind of attached to your finger, it's going to be pretty close to your mouth, and that will be your speaker. So let's get into the article here. This from Engadget, saying that while modern Bluetooth earpieces are more compact than ever, chances are you still need to leave at least one stuck in your ear, and this can get uncomfortable over time. Not to mention the dorkiness that's been haunting this form factor since day one. Now, first red flag here, Hong Kong startup Origami Labs. Not that I have anything against Chinese people or Chinese companies, but I will say a lot of clickbait does come out of Chinese-made ideas. But they say that it has an alternative solution to this problem, saying why not repackage the Bluetooth earpiece as a ring and then use bone conduction. Are the things like bone? bone conduction to transmit audio to the fingertip. And that's the basic idea behind the Ori smart ring. So the Ori is essentially an aluminum ring melted to a small plastic containing all the electronics, and the main body on the latest working prototype came out at about 30 to 20 to 12 millimeters thick. So there's a picture here. Not too bad. Like smaller than an Apple Watch rectangle, but still obviously noticeable. And it's pretty impressive when you consider that what's housed inside of the ring, and that includes things like gyroscope, LEDs, 50 milliamp battery, other things like that, and allows for about 1.5 hours of talk time. And so on a more serious note, the CEO sees this screen-free input method serving a greater purpose for those in need, saying that it's inspired him as a visually impaired software engineer and also founding member of Microsoft's accessibility team. So they're saying that this could be a pretty easy way for for people to use a cell phone device, obviously without screens or anything like that. Could help those that are maybe blind. So they're saying that at the time of this writing, and we're gonna head on over there now, I believe it's still up and going. Yeah, 20 days ago, it has reached its backing. It's of course a Kickstarter, and it's a voice-powered smart ring, and they are at 155,000 of their $30,000 goal. So about 5 times what they were looking for. All right, 5 times. And yeah, so, people are buying into it. People are certainly, getting excited about this kind of idea. I think it's going to have to be tested by yourself before you run out and buy one blindly off the internet. But it's a pretty cool idea. And bone induction, we have headphones like that all over the place. So why not a Bluetooth speaker that goes through your finger? All right. So everyone, we don't think we have time to get any more stories. We have a couple more that we didn't get to, including about Flash, why it was useful when it came out, but over time, and even now, it is ready to be kicked out the door. So by the end of 2022, Adobe Flash will no longer be what it currently is. And not a lot of people are crying that fact. I think a lot of people are looking forward to the end of Flash. And let's see what else. We had we had some malware for Google Play Store, not affecting too many people. Amazon is looking to scan your home with their delivery drones and things like that. And Microsoft, of course, is looking to rebrand Windows 10 and Windows 10 Office once again. So keep an eye out for that. So tomorrow, everyone, on the program, we have Nathan Evans. Yeah, longtime Computer America correspondent. And, of course, looking forward to talking with Nathan about all kinds of topics, including Jeff Bezos overtakes Bill Gates to become the world's richest man. Google will stop showing search results as you type because it makes no sense on mobile. And, other stories such as these and more. Nathan's always a lot of fun. Always a good time. And tune in, same time, same place, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. All right, that is
60 seconds.
That is just about it. Thank you so much for tuning into Computer America. Again, we will reschedule today's guest. We apologize for the last minute switch up, but everyone, hey, we made it through okay. So, again, if you missed any part of this or you want to catch anything we do here at Computer America, computeramerica.com. It's your one-stop shop, everything you need to know right there. And so, everyone, until tomorrow with Nathan Evans. Catch you then, catch you here, Computer America, signing off. Bye, everyone.
10 seconds.